was made to help fund some of that information. But in here, you can see just all the different programs and the amount of students that are touched by the Dream Grant program. In grades 3 through 5, there was 4 grants. English learners, all of our special teachers apply for grants. So that's in pre-K through 5, that's every student is going to benefit from something from these Dream Grants. And then you can see the middle school, high school, and something else that I thought was unique that with our new staff, 6 new staff were new to their position also got a Dream Grant. So as they started out in the classroom and started in the program, they also found ways to be innovative and work with this program, so that was nice to see. These next few slides are just things that were purchased through the Dream Grants. There is a common theme of a lot of hands-on materials. As you look through and see those things, again, thinking of diversity, thinking of expanding our literacy program, and then just giving kids things to do hands-on and in group work. Center items for the pre-K, all the way up through flexible seating for students, as I think that was a 3rd grade request this year, 3D printer in the STEAM classroom, and then these are more so middle school, high school, concussion goggle kits. So that is the sports medicine class, and with all of our athletes and all of those students participating in those things, I thought that was a great use of our funds. And then finally, the Pointer Express is Mrs. Crump's class. So they will bake things, they will make coffee, and they will go deliver it out. And if you're ever in the hallways at that time, it's kind of a big deal. Make sure you have $1 or 2 because they'll get you. But a great sense of purpose and camaraderie throughout the school based on that program. So again, we're glad we were able to do it. Thankful for Dr. Frazier and for the board for their support that we're able to help these teachers and these students in these classes.
Awesome.
So we have earmarked about $4,500 for the Dream Grants. This year, with the request, I think we were right around $11,000. But we found additional funds, and we need to make sure that all of the requests were able to be honored. And so we're proud that we're able to support our students and our teachers and make sure that they have things they need to continue to be innovative. So we're pretty excited about that.
Thank you, Mr. Leach. Next report, budget calendar. That time of year already.
It is.
Dr. Frazier.
It is that time of year. So in your board packet, you will see that we have our proposed budget calendar. So that budget process does begin on November 1st. When I start the process by collecting information from principals and administrators, you will see that this calendar goes throughout March, and March 18th is when the board should be in a place that we can adopt a budget. Those are the dates at which the board members begin to put those dates on your calendars. You will note that December meeting is a little earlier, as our staff will be at that meeting to present. So that is a 3:45 board meeting. And you will also see the work sessions that we'll have in January and February. And if there are other meetings that are needed, then we will add those meetings to our calendar.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Frazier. Next up, items under study. Policy revisions. Dr. Frazier.
So here you have, you continue to have the policies that we gave to you in August, I believe. And so if I have not received any feedback for any specific policies. And so if the board is comfortable, we can move that to an action item unless we need additional time for those policies to be under study.
I just had one. I noticed the advisory committees. It looks like we struck the language about 1-year terms and that it wasn't paid. And we removed that it's not paid. Is that just inherently understood that you're not paid if you don't sign a contract? Is that what we do?
Yes, okay. Yes, we don't pay folks to serve on advisory committees.
I have a general question I thought of. Does it, like, when we do all these updates, just because some of them are just like, you're changing the to the I, whatever it is, right? Like, is there an expense involved? I mean, for us to change them? know what I'm saying? Like, what's the cost to changing our policies?
You know, there's no cost. You know, we use policy services through.
Right, like when we actually physically go in and change it, like, is there,
No.
okay,
So we do those things in house.
yeah.
And so in house, one of our clerical folks actually makes the.
It's just seems some of them, it's just like, there was no new law that was passed, or no new code that goes on, they're just changing the language, and I'm like, it just seems maybe not worth the time or cost to it, so I was just curious about.
There's no cost, and hopefully as we start moving policies to board docs, that it will end up being easier.
Okay.
So
The other question I had was kind of with that, the updates. Is there like a spell check, or like I noticed a couple like apostrophe missing here, some wrong words.
Everybody Grammarly on it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
couldn't
there
do it
was
on the
definitely-
PDF. I didn't know if we did like an F7 or whatever before we did it.
we will
Like if not, I'm happy to highlight the ones I saw and email you. I just didn't know.
Real life
In
Grammarly.
section J, there were a couple of those in particular, I remember in section J.
we will make sure that those things are taken care of. We used to have an editor on the board that used to take care of those things for us, or make sure that we stay on track with those things. But we will make sure that those things are done.
If I would have brought my computer, I would have my notes. And I'll send you what I have.
But-
That's all.
This is directly from the VSBA policy services, right?
Those
Like
are
what-
those are directly
yeah.
from, but our folks still had to go in and make the changes, and so there could be some grammatical errors there that we just need to come
Or we could just blame VSBA for it.
I'm not gonna point that. So are we
Are we
comfortable?
comfortable moving this to an action item? Does anyone need more time? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the policy revisions to an action item?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
I
All those opposed, motion carries. Mr. Leach, do you want me to put that as G?
Yes, sir.
Get that when we get to our action items. And is that all for policies? We're good there. Next up, the cell phone guidance, another item under study.
All right, so you will also note that you have the cell phone guidance that came out from DOE and the state in your packet again this month for your review and for your reading pleasure. Also, just wanted to update you all to let you all know that we have sent out a survey from the division. That survey is not meant to be a vote. It is not meant to be a poll to see how many people really are for or against cell phone free education. The survey is really meant to, one, share information, because there was a lot of information that was shared along with the survey. We shared the information from the fireside chat, we shared the actual guidance, and we also shared our current policy. And then it was just to get a feeler for what people are thinking, what are people in our community, and also what are people in our schools thinking about the policies, about the new guidance. And so all of that information will be put together and shared with board members, so you all will have that before you make that final decision. Just remember that we will need to have a new policy in place by January 1. And so hopefully next month at our meeting, we will be able to make a decision on moving forward with cell phone guidance. Are there any specific questions regarding cell phone guidance or cell phone free education at this time?
So your goal is to have the survey feedback to us before
Right, so
the
the
next general meeting, and we
this-
will make.
The survey closes on October 22nd. And so we've worked with the Donovan Group, and they will have all the data compiled hopefully by the 24th. And so then we will email that out to board members, so board members have that information. As of yesterday, over 320 people responded to the survey. I don't think we've ever done a survey in the division that many response. So,
That's good.
And that also goes, that partnership that we have with the Donovan Group, they're able to control that, so everything's anonymous, we don't know who's saying what, and they will then be able to spit out the data for us, so they'll be able to provide you all with that clean data from them.
That survey, I know I got it in my email, did it just go to like parents, staff, students could do it? I mean,
Parents, staff, and students.
Okay.
We also have some reminders that will go out on social media as from reminders for folks to complete the survey.
All right, anything else about cell phones? Right, Dr. Frazier. Next up, board discussion, legal counsel, Ms. Stokes.
So, in light of the settlement with Mr. Blaming, I think that we as a board need to reconsider our counsel. I think they gave us bad legal advice. And so I would like to propose that we seek new legal counsel and find somebody else to represent us. So that's where I'm at.
Do you have anybody in mind?
I mean, so no, I don't have anybody specific in mind. I was gonna, I think that's the. Yeah. No, I don't have anybody specific in mind. Our attorney is, the firm's a little bit concerning in general. The head lobbyist for a left-leaning group, Ann's our attorney, and clearly had seemingly an agenda in the advice that we were given, and I think it was really bad advice as displayed by the fact that we settled. So we were clearly in the wrong in that situation. So I think it's important that we get new counsel that's going to address it and give us good legal advice without any sort of, or minimal bias in that advice.
Any thoughts?
Open to discuss it, looking further into it.
I've got different legal counsel for different matters. I mean, I'm not necessarily ever married to one legal firm. In construction, people threaten to sue me all the time, so it's a little different.
Yeah, I would say from a timing perspective, it might be best when we reorganize in January. We'll have new board members. And that might be appropriate time. Consider that and take Dr. Frazier advice or guidance on what we're looking for. Just thought.
I would say that I would just give some guidance saying that attorneys are like most other professions. They give advice based on what they know at the time when the decisions are being made, and they are fallible, just like doctors and every other profession. That would go for CPAs and lots of people. And it's certainly not a situation that we're excited about, but it's also a situation, I don't know that we can make a decision. All I would say is make the decision looking at lots of factors, not just the one factor, as you look at attorneys to represent West Point schools.
So I think it's also important to note that one, our lead attorney has represented the school division since 2005. And even when she was with a different firm, when she left that firm and she started her new firm, we were one of the first school divisions that began working with them. And that was in 2018. But I think it's also important to note, and I can say this based on my typical conversations with legal counsel, is they're always going to give you options. They're going to give you, this is what you can do. This is the process. very rarely, unless it is something with confidentiality, or that is just straight up against the law, are they going to tell you what you have to do. And it is also the job of your legal counsel to support you in cleaning up and fighting whatever the situation is. So I think all of those things are important to look at as we go through this. It's not, and I think because we've been with our legal counsel so long, I think it's also appropriate that the board may have some conversation with the legal counsel, because we're making this decision based on what we know, but we haven't talked to legal counsel about what actually happened and what those conversations were. So I would just be mindful of that.
So I just realized I haven't been turning my mic on, sorry. So in light of that, are you saying that I would like to know what options were given to the people who decided to go ahead and pursue the firing of Mr. Lamey? If that's what you're saying, like they could have presented both options or multiple options, and this is what they went with. I think we need to know, well, what were those options and why was the route we went?
I think it would be very appropriate for the board to have a closed session meeting with the attorney to get more details about the case. I think that's appropriate.
And I would like that. Yes.
Is that something we want done before the new board takes place, or after the election?
If we're gonna talk about possible different legal counsel, and that decision's not gonna be made until after the first of the year, I think it's entirely possible that you'd be having that same meeting twice.
So we look at first of the year, schedule time with current legal counsel, have conversations, and then decide the path forward. Okay.
Next up, action items. First up, we have a motion to approve our expenditures and receive our revenue reports. We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, motion carries. We have a motion to approve our cafeteria expenditures.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, motion carries. We have a motion to approve our personnel recommendations.
Yes.
Yes, well, okay, we have a motion. Yeah.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All that opposed, motion carries. Got quite a few donations this month. We have a motion to. Okay. Thought maybe we had more donations coming in late.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion to approve our donations. We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nice to see.
Aye. All that opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to approve our additional grant awards and the reimbursement of our funds resolution.
So once approved tonight, this resolution will go to the town as we work with them to reappropriate these funds, these unspent funds from last school year.
We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, motion carries. We have a motion to approve the homeschool student requests for 24-25.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. All that opposed, motion carries. Our policy updates. Do I have a motion to approve our policy revisions?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that opposed, motion carries. That's all our action items. Any informational items, Dr. Frazier, you wish to call out? What do we have?
Just, we do know that homecoming is this week. And
Yes.
so the parade starts at 5 o'clock on Friday, 5 o'clock again.
Alright. Delegation. Oh, oh. What's that?
Who would like?
Matthews, I think.
King
King.
and Queen.
Not thinking I had like 3 more teams I could choose.
You did say I think, so I mean.
Roll call.
I'm not running the chain, so. Alright, delegations, Mr. Leach. No delegations. Alright, we have our November meeting. 19th. Anything else?
Just be prepared for cell phone guidance
Oh, yeah.
That was really ominous.
at our November meeting.
Alright, and we'll have those surveys within next week or two.
Absolutely.
Alright. Nothing further, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Whoa, are we not doing this thing? Can I not step up and talk?
Oh, that's a delegation.
That's a
It's a
delegation.
delegation.
Sorry.
It's adjourned or what? I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
You would've,
Oh, forgive me. My apologies. I thought you heard adjourned. I thought we were done, my apologies.
well, we were.
Oh, well,
Did you
Yeah, I
sign
got
up to
something.
speak?
I'm sorry, I don't know how to do it. What do I do?
That's fine.
You would just see Mr. Leach, or you could email the board prior to.
I told you.
That's all right. I didn't tell anybody. It's a surprise. Hi,
Okay.
excuse me. Welcome. My name's Jonathan, and I'm a teacher at the school. So I don't know all of you, but I'm an ESL teacher. I'm also a Spanish teacher. Actually, I have some of your kids right now, I think. I have one of your kids right now. Good evening. We don't know each other very well, but we will in a moment. My name's Jonathan Westlawn. Not just an ESL teacher, also the Spanish teacher here at the school. And this is my 6th year here, or 7th, I don't remember. And I'm coming here today because I'm upset. Like, I'm pretty altered today. Because this weekend, or this past week, I saw firsthand the pain and damage caused by unchecked xenophobia and anti-immigrant sentiment in our schools. And I saw this myself. And I'm like really moved by this because like I used to be part of the problem. Right? I'm going to tell you that as like a person growing up, going to school in Virginia, being the way that I am, being around the people that I'm around, talking the way that we talk, making the jokes that we joke. And I'm not part of the problem anymore. And I'm coming here to ask you to help with this problem. Alright? A father called me last week. He said his daughter, one of mine, that means an ESL kid, that means that she probably speaks Spanish, that she probably comes from a war-torn place. What she does, she comes from Guatemala. It's a horrifying place, particularly for children. She's a Spanish speaker. She's now a fluent English speaker. I got her right after she got into kindergarten. She was too old for kindergarten. She was maybe 1 or 2 years older than she should have been in kindergarten. She's crushing it now. She's got glasses. Okay, she's like, she's killing it. This kid's father called me, so I don't even like have much to do with her anymore because she's out of my program. She's out of the program. He calls me and he says, during attendance, during one of her classes, somebody used a racial slur on her. And in the moment that I heard that, I didn't know it was going to hit me the way that it hit me. But it hit me. And I say this as a white guy who has, in the past, joked around, thrown around language that I probably didn't have any business doing. And now I'm really feeling why. Because I felt something really, really hard that day. These incidents are not isolated, by the way. They're happening more frequently. They are fueled by dangerous rhetoric we see on the national stage. If we do nothing, we risk letting this hate take root in our classrooms. Our schools should be places of sanctuary, where all students, regardless of where they were born or what language they speak, feel safe and valued. And as educators, we have a responsibility not only to teach, but also to protect the dignity of every child who walks through the doors, bar none. The U.S. Supreme Court's landmark decision in Plyler versus Doe, reinforced that states cannot deny children access to education based on their immigration status. But access alone is not enough. It is in all of our interests to ensure that every child, no matter what they look like or where they come from, feels safe, welcome, and able to thrive in our schools. That is why I'm asking you today to adopt a hate has no home here resolution that I have. It's a resolution that goes beyond words and takes real, actionable steps to make sure our schools are safe for immigrant students and their families. I have copies of this model resolution here. It's been adopted by other districts across the country, and it designates campuses as safe zones. I'll give each of you a copy up here on my distinguished, illustrious board. My administrators, loving administrators, and everybody here. All right. This establishes resource centers for students and families threatened by immigrant enforcement. This would be a significant step in ensuring that our students and their families know their rights and have a place to turn if they feel threatened. But this alone is not enough. More must be done to proactively combat the xenophobic rhetoric that has become part of the national narrative. We need a clear and decisive plan that includes staff training to identify and intervene in incidents of discrimination and bullying based on immigration status, know your rights presentations in multiple languages for students and their families, and educational programs that teach students the value of diversity and the importance of standing up against hate. In other school districts across the state and nation, we have seen comprehensive anti-bullying and anti-discrimination policies that include not only punishment, but also preventive education. We need the same here. It's not enough to address bullying after the fact. We need to create a culture of respect, empathy, and inclusion from the start. And as a general note in this in general, I don't want to light any kids up either. I'm not trying to bring the hammer down on kids. What we want to do is get the kids educated as to how to act around people, right? This is not a move to like punish bullying here. So passing this resolution and implementing a proactive plan will send a clear message that hate has no home here. Our immigrant students and their families will know they are safe. And all students will learn that intolerance and xenophobia have no place in our community, regardless of what they might see on the national news. Let us make West Point schools a leader in fighting against hate and a beacon of hope and inclusion for all students.
Thank you.
Sorry. Next time I'll know. Then I'll tell him first, right? Alright, thanks.
It's now adjourned.
Okay.
We're adjourned.
Alright.
Thank you.
I'll stay behind for questions.